you know, that sounds like you want adults to prey on children. But
exactly.
It's actually not as controversial as you think. For example, I think in the Netherlands, the age of consent is something like 12 or 14. So you're being treated like you're a terrible criminal, but that means the Dutch are terrible criminals as well.
Exactly.
So, well, look, it is an arbitrary...
Pedophile whataboutism. Oh yes, it's real. We've experienced it. Now you see, now you see. Some people might deem that you're both pedophiles.
You preemptively said, I think, with respect to what given...
Whatever, man. Go watch the video Amos Yee in Cell Block C. He completely lied about me. Once again, Medicare, I'll fucking destroy you if you let me on.
Didn't you make a video saying that you were kicked out of that first house you were at for doing these types of videos?
Christ.
Well, yeah. That's why I had this new house. And he said that I was just lying that I was kicked out. So,
Amos.
Well, he meant about the first house.
Here's a good video with Sargon.
Since he's not trolling.
if like a child can be introduced to sex as like quickly as possible. So, yeah, I really would think that a kid having dick would be a good idea, buddy. Honestly. Okay. But let's say.
But anyway, look at his fucking face. He's just having a great time violating social norms.
Oh, whoa. Amos Yee charged with child porn in the United States. Oh, that happened. Uh-oh. Oh no. It might be that all that video clips, all those interviews, all that time you spent defending Amos Yee is now in vain? Oh no. I think it really depends on the child, really, doesn't it? Because some kids mature faster than others. Carl Benjamin will give Britain its voice back. Come on. It depends on the age of consent. It depends on the child. Interesting.
So let me ask, since being in the U.S., one of your biggest controversies was about the topic of pedophilia.
Oh, yeah.
Pedophilia. You support that? You believe that's okay?
Oh, yeah. I do think, yeah.
You believe
Pedophilia.
that older men and women...
It's not a gotcha. It's a very easy question. Very, very easy. Here, I'll do it. No, fuck pedophiles. Fuck pedophilia. I think we can all get on board.
You believe that older men and women should be able to have sex with young children? I'm sorry?
Sexual acts, not like sexual penetration with like really young children, because like if you penetrate something in them, you could probably hurt them. So maybe wait until like the age 12, then penetrate. But in terms of like sexual acts, older people making out with young.
This wasn't like new. Like, by the way, this isn't like, oh wow, this came out of left field. How could we not have seen this? How old is this interview? 2018. This is from 2018. And yet Sargon of Akkad, Andy No, just parading him around as if he's some new free speech figure.
How young?
How as young as they can. I mean, we can hug a baby, making out with them. I think should be fine.
Have you ever done that?
Nah.
You never made out with a child?
Like, you're advocating for making out with babies. I don't think I've heard that from anyone. I've never heard that before. I think even the most like, ardent pedos aren't like, well, yeah, we're fighting for the right to make out with children. No, so kids? No, babies. What, babies? Yeah, babies. We want the right to make out with babies. Look, I'm not a weirdo. I'm not talking about like, penetration or anything like that. Come on. Like, who do you take me for, sir?
No, I'm not sexually attracted to a child.
Oh, but why do you think it's okay to do it then?
I just think that because it's completely harmless, there's nothing wrong with a sexual act with a child that doesn't it actually benefits both parties. I mean, there's obviously psychological evidence that shows that sexual acts with people is good, and so I think that it's an ideal to introduce sexual acts to people as young as possible.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did you come up with that? What made you think that was okay?
What?
Did someone have sex with you when you were a young child?
Nah.
You never had sex?
I just had sex. I just lost my virginity like a month ago. But
What happened?
oh, it was she was of age. She was of age.
How old was she?
22.
And how old are you? 19.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
We felt a connection with each other, and we had.
What's weirder here? The endorsement of pedophilia, or the fact that JLP is giving his first good interview ever, where he's actually doing the normal things. Is that more shocking?
You wanted to do it?
Yeah.
That was your first time?
Yeah. Sure.
Why with an older woman?
Why? I'm not.
Why not have with someone your age?
I don't really care about the age.
Oh, you don't
factor.
care about age.
Yeah. She's just like, she was great, and she was just older than me. So, but if she was of my age or younger, I think I wouldn't mind. I probably wouldn't mind if she was younger, because I'd probably be afraid if I would go to jail. I shouldn't go to jail, and that's the big thing about why I speak up against pedophilia. Like, these people who have completely consensual acts, sexual acts with a child, and then they get sent to prison for like 10, 15 years, completely ruining their lives. Absolutely awful, I think. So that's why I spoke up.
Gonna guess that things in Singapore aren't too lenient towards that. Gonna guess extradition to Singapore is not gonna be the greatest scenario.
And what do you think about men who have been accused by women of sexual molesting them and rape and all that? Do you think men should go to jail?
Oh, there. Yeah, here's the spin. And now JLP's back to his he's assumed his ultimate form. That's what's happening. So that's weird, though. Like, I'm in the middle of talking to someone who sounds like he's admitting that pedophilia is okay. How do I spin this into something involving the Me Too movement? Oof, gonna have to play some 7D chess here.
Oh, I think I know what you're referring to, the Me Too thing. Now it's kind of, yes,
Yeah.
some people, like, it's not really sexual abuse, like the Anas Asar,
Right.
that's his name? Yeah. But
What
it's
do you
not
think
really
about
sexual
all
abuse.
that? The Me
What?
Too crowd, what do you think about that?
I think that there's a net benefit in speaking up against sexual abuse, though they do get kind of over enthusiastic sometimes, and like creepy guys, they say that it's sexual abuse when it's not really sexual abuse. But I think there's a net benefit in the Me Too. A 42-year-old adult comes along and says that while he was 10 years old, he had a perfectly consensual sexual relationship with a 30-year-old adult. The relationship was perfectly fine and consensual, and both of them enjoyed the sexual relationship.
Are you alright, mate? Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Opinion, the home of a twat with too much free time, and Amos Yee, someone who was under the radar for a while. Yes, this man is apparently quite notorious. I noticed a few people saying that he was an advocate for paedophilia, and I, being my naive self, at first assumed it was some sort of soft advocation.
I think this is a right-wing channel. This is the first time I think I've watched a chud, but not to make fun of him. Or maybe it just focuses on drama. Is it a drama channel? Nah, he's just a drama channel? Okay, alright. Well, that's okay then.
Yes, in a lovely video, quaintly named Paedophilia is Alright, he argues that not just paedophilia is alright, but that sexual encounters with children is fine, as long as they consent. Now, a lot of people have been speaking about the general morality of the issue, which I'll definitely integrate, but I also like to try and bring a different spin on my channel, so I'll be looking to integrate more pragmatic points as well. Let us get right into the video, because I just cannot wait to taste the spiciness of his points. He begins with a very pleasant anecdote in his preamble, in which he presents the story of a 42-year-old man who reveals that he had a healthy sexual relationship when he was a child with a 30-year-old adult. And it was alright, because he personally was not traumatized as a child at all. So it's all good, happy days, who cares about anyone else? We have one counterexample, and that's what matters. He then states that the treatment of paedophiles by society has been horrendous, saying that paedophilia is merely the attraction and not someone who is going to act on them, and following that statement by arguing that a paedophile should be allowed to act on those feelings anyway to a consenting child. So yeah, strange point. He also refers to paedophilia as a sexual orientation.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Children can't consent. Children cannot consent. So that's why it's fucked up. It's very easy. Very, very simple.
I also don't appreciate that he's grouping paedophiles into the LGBT community. I'm putting my foot down here. Paedophilia is not a sexuality. Okay? Sexuality for me is what sexual organs you enjoy. Dick or vag, or both. Whatever floats your boat. Is that clear enough? He also carries on grouping
I don't know. He seems alright so far. I mean, that is the right opinion.
paedophiles were genuine child molesters and asking why people believe they should be jailed. And once again, to clarify, you're only going to be jailed if you act on those urges. He also references statistics to do with suicide listed as 30 to 150, which is so incredibly broad that it's hardly verifiable, and he doesn't even reference it below, so that's pretty useless, isn't it? He also uses the classic look at the terrible stigma these people are getting, so here's why we don't need age of consent. They're completely different and bizarre points, and the fact that he's trying to emote sympathy through telling people of these horrible stories of electroshock therapy, and then to go on and say, but sexual encounters with children are alright, must be intentionally missing the point. And I know that it's split into different parts, but this whole section seems like a red herring and completely irrelevant to what he's trying to argue. And then he talks about child porn. Now, I could go off on anyone on this guy, explaining how children are too young to consent, which I think is almost ubiquitously understood. I think it's kind of amusing and worrying at the same time how genuinely morally black and white he sees the idea of child consent. It is pretty black and white, just the other way around. I like how outraged he seems at the idea of child porn being punishable by 15 to 30 years in prison. Even if you were an advocate on such a matter, surely you could understand why people find it distinctly wrong. Yee seems genuinely annoyed and confused that people are in favour of such a punitive measure. With regards to child pornography, Amos Yee completely disregards previous comments about consenting and complains that possession of it should not be prosecutable by law, but his outrage is once again completely false, not to mention he misses the problem with child pornography possession completely. It's not about exposure. If people believe that a child is too young to consent, then all child pornography is illegal, and active possession of such is also illegal, not to mention morally obscene. It's trickle-down criminality, as child pornography is a business in itself and there's no benefit of the doubt allowed with such. You cannot be possessing it because it is complicity in an illegal business. It's like owning a stolen car. It's not like watching footage of a robbery, because specifically the footage is also illegal. Is that understood? That is not the same as any other criminality. There is no moral equivalence. Then he talks about age of consent, and oh dear, no one's denying that there are some adolescents who are more mature than others, but the laws are in place because people have selected an age at which they have decided that children can have control of their own sexual prerogative. He argues for erasing the age of consent laws and then suggests that the idea of sending someone who has, quote, mutually beneficial sex with a 9-year-old to jail is insane. No, it's not. It's perfectly sane, my friend. You have to understand this. The line is drawn for reasons not just for individual comprehension. Children are precious in development, and if you know by now, any adult sexual assault case is a very complicated case indeed, and more often it will lead to moral grey areas where it's a plaintiff's word against a defendant's. Can you imagine the danger of that with children? The age of consent laws are there not to make exceptions for that reason. You say that if it causes emotional trauma, then a paedophile could be prosecuted, but how would you plan on measuring and proving that in a court of law where child sex is legal? It would just be like any rape case. But in this instance, children could suffer a lot fucking more. The damage and the implication is unthinkable. You haven't even began to consider this world that you wish to live in and the amount of disastrous outcomes that can take place. Where the fuck is your manifesto? There is no need for sex at a young age, and your proposed legislation would only help the sickest in society. And I don't need you to clarify in every video that you're not a paedophile. It kind of seems more suspicious when you feel the need to assert that. I'm sorry, I'm really having trouble finding the reasoning behind a lot of your assertions in this video, and especially a lot of the comparisons that you make. The use of one example doesn't deny the overwhelming examples to the contrary.
Okay, yeah, that was a good take. All right. If you're wondering why we're talking about Amos, he was just arrested for child porn and he's being extradited back to Singapore. Amos was also the darling child of so many figures on the right, such as, you know, your Sargon of Akkad's and your Andy Knows, because he was a professional troll and everyone loved that. We're like, oh yeah, it's 4chans for the memes. He's just talking about pedophilia for the lulz. It's not real. He doesn't actually believe any of this stuff. He's not actually harboring a whole bunch of child porn on his laptop, and that's gonna be okay.
I think at this point you guys probably know I'm big on this free speech thing. I'm a
oh, did he interview Amos? Oh, what's gonna happen here?
firm believer that you can say absolutely anything you want, period. That doesn't mean there won't be consequences for what you say, but you have the right to say what you want. By the same token, others have the right to rebut your free speech by exercising theirs. This is how good ideas win, not by stifling bad speech, but by beating it with better ideas.
I'm so happy he's giving the speech at the start of this, because it's going to be a great precursor into the guy who just got arrested for child porn, who likes to talk about pornography and children.
As I've mentioned many times, in America right this very moment, I'm not that concerned that the government is coming for my free speech. You can say pretty much anything you want about the government without fear, and in many cases you'll look cool for fighting the power. There are instances like Edward Snowden and the CIA leaks where it seems people are being persecuted for speech, but really those consequences are for exposing state secrets. However, what I fear in America is that we are taking away speech from ourselves, and we are doing it in a plethora of ways. You guys all know about the safe spaces and the trigger warnings on college campuses, which are designed to shield young people from speech which might scare them. Now, authors with controversial ideas are deplatformed and...
Keep in mind, he's giving this entire speech, and Amos is just sitting across from him on another chair, just sitting there like this.
It's not just colleges, though. We also have protesters blocking roads to political rallies because they don't like what might be said before it actually is. Throw in the overuse of the words like racist, bigot, homophobe, and sexist, and you have a toxic mess designed to shut down any important and honest discussion. In other countries, the threat to free speech is much worse than we have it here. America has plenty of so-called allies who don't respect free speech in a myriad of ways. Many Islamic countries have laws against blasphemy and apostasy, meaning you can be put in jail or even killed for mocking God or leaving religion. Add the oppression of women, minorities, gays, and others into the mix, and you have entire societies that not only don't have freedom of speech, but are actively trying to control what their citizens think and how they act. We often think that the most backwards countries related to free speech and these intolerant ideas are in the Middle East, but often that's not the case. My guest this week is Amos Yee. Amos is a 17-year-old from Singapore who is an atheist and free speech advocate. Amos shares his thoughts about government, religion, and more right here on YouTube.
Oh, what's the more? I'm curious about the more.
Amos got on my radar just a couple days ago when I started getting dozens of tweets asking me to help him after he was arrested due to Singapore's blasphemy laws. At this very moment, he's out on $5,000 bail and awaiting trial in Singapore. He faces 5 counts of wounding the religious feelings of Muslims and 1 count of wounding the religious feelings of Christians. If convicted, he faces up to 3 years in prison. I've caught up on some of Amos's videos, and this is a guy who pulls absolutely no punches. I've seen videos of him mocking and licking the Quran. I've seen him humping the Bible and plenty of other stuff. He's mocking others' ideas with ideas.
The Bible's pretty old. I think the Bible's way too old for him. I think, yeah, he's going to have to find a younger text.
He isn't calling for harm to a person or group of people. He's in fact doing the most human thing you can do, which is thinking for yourself. As Ayaan Hirsi Ali says, if you are for minorities, you must be for minorities within those minorities. This is the perfect example of that. If you really are for atheists or free thinkers, then you must be for the brave ones who mock the very institutions which would have them jailed or killed. You can't just be for ideas when it's safe. You have to be for ideas when it's your own life on the line. Amos is not only a living example of that concept, but he's also...
Oh man. Did the free speech absolutism... Did it ever backfire?
My guest this week is a 17-year-old from Singapore who makes YouTube videos about atheism and free speech and is now paying the price for it. Amos Yee, welcome to the Rubin Report.
Hey, Rubin. Glad to be on the show.
All right, so first we have to thank the Twitter warriors for connecting us because I was trying this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, to get off Twitter pretty much, but I was slammed with a zillion people saying free Amos Yee. You've got to talk to Amos Yee. Who the hell is Amos Yee?
Who the hell is Amos Yee? Well, I'm becoming pretty relevant, so who the hell? Well, currently I'm being charged for my anti-religious videos. One called Responding to Common Bullshit of Christians, and the other called Refuting Islam with Their Own Quran. Both of them extremely powerful, extremely masterful works. Haven't seen any religious videos better, objectively speaking, because I've watched many atheist videos and haven't seen anything better. So
totally objective.
I made the greatest anti-Christian and anti-Islam video, and then but unfortunately I made it, fortunately or unfortunately, that really depends. I made it in a country called Singapore, which is a complete totalitarian dictatorship state, but fortunately it still has the internet. So I posted it online and now I'm being charged for it.
Yeah, okay, so there's a lot there. So first off, for people that haven't seen your videos, and truth is, I didn't know who you were until a couple days ago, but I have watched your videos now.
Yeah, do you like them?
I do like them. You're funny, you're edgy, you clearly don't mind putting your thoughts out there, and that's what this whole show is about, that concept. But you do some intentionally inflammatory stuff. I've seen you licking a Quran. I've seen you humping a Bible. When did you decide that this was the route you wanted to go?
When did I decide that the route was, okay, why did I do that? Well, the reason, okay, I'm gonna use, now some would deem. Now when I use the phrase some would deem, it's basically my opinion. It's just that I'm gonna use that phrase now so that I will, not be charged for it in Singapore. It's because, if I use some would deem, I'm just stating a fact and they can't charge me for it, hopefully. I hope I don't get charged for the show. Okay, so some would deem that Amos did it because that's funny, because people most of the time on YouTube, from the
Some might
videos
say.
that I've seen, from The Amazing Atheist and Cult of Dusty, those are my favorite atheist YouTubers, they make points and they do it.
Oh no, Dusty, I'm sorry. Cult of Dusty just got thrown under the bus, under the pedo bus. God damn.
They basically taught me, the points of atheism, but they never do it in a completely filthy, frankish, over-the-top, funny way before. So I want to do that. I want to make something new like that. And nobody ever condensed all of those bullshit of the Christians and condensed all of the bullshit of Islam and then formed it into one whole video before and then made it, just really easy to see. So I wanted to do that, which is why I made those videos.
Okay, so some people would deem that's what you've done. I got it. So when
some people would deem.
Yeah, got it.
That may or may not be my intention.
Oh man, did he start using that after that for a while? I wonder. He's like, I heard an expression, some might deem. Yeah, some might deem me. Yeah.
When did you decide you were an atheist? Because you're pretty young.
When did I decide I was? Around the time when I was 15 years old. Because I was once a Catholic, and there was this thing called confirmation. I don't even know what that is anymore, but apparently it's this big thing where, okay, once you have confirmation, then you're, I don't know, more of a Catholic or something. I'm not even sure. So because of that, I have to think, okay, what does confirmation really mean? So that I started to actually think of that topic instead of just mindlessly going to church every Sunday, which is what I did before. So after that, the main factor was, the big turning point was when...
Oh, I used to watch Filthy Frank all the time. Filthy Frank was one of those edgelord channels when I was younger that I found hilarious. But yeah, it's pretty edgelord humor. So yeah, they loved him because it was basically, well, this is going to be our example for free speech absolutism. So we've got this figure. He does these hilarious videos. I love it when you're making love to the Bible, and then you had non-consensual sex with the Bible, and you cut that little hole in the Bible so you could penetrate it. That was really funny. That was cutting edge jokes. But now they're trying to silence you.
Some people would deem that this is completely politically motivated, because essentially what the government did was they checked the like and dislike, because this essentially is politically motivated. You have to understand that I was in jail before for mocking the dead dictator, Lee Kuan Yew.
Right.
I already did my time of 55 days in prison, and they tried to. So really,
Ruben's doing his best impression right now of Tucker Carlson, just over there the whole time.
I'm a political threat. So they want to try to find as many ways to take me down as possible. But the fact is, they do not want to charge me for bashing politicians, because that's frowned upon by foreigners. But right now, since everyone's sucking Islam's dick, they charge me for that, thinking that the mainstream media and other people overseas will not fucking talk about it. Which they're right. The mainstream media has not done that because they want to suck Islam's dick. So
Right.
who do you attack afterward? So who do you then get to have a large following? The content producers, the goddamn YouTubers. So yeah.
So I must be some kind of idiot for doing this interview, apparently.
No, you're brilliant, Ruben. That's the thing. That's why we're on the show. You deserve my interview.
That clip's not gonna age well, is it? Look how pleased he is too.
So you were in jail for 55 days.
Thank you.
So was that a children or an adolescent jail? What's it like being in a jail in Singapore for a kid?
A kid. Yeah, they still.
I mean, you're right. Like you weren't in with the general population, were you?
It's fucked. Some people would deem it's fucked up.
Some people would deem.
They charge me as an adult, even
Stop trying to make it happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. All right, it's not going to happen. You can't. No matter how many times you say it, it's not going to pick up.
though below 18. I'm not even sure about that. Even Amnesty International, who spoke up against me in the UN, they said I was a child and they demanded the release of me from jail. But the Singapore government, being the ruthless cunts that they are, just didn't do it. I was sent to jail, and of course it was absolutely horrible. There are many times when I even said I wanted to commit suicide and didn't eat for a couple of days. It's in a cell with a bunch of goddamn. Yeah, it's in a cell. All you have is like, yeah, it's just there's a CCTV on it. It's a fucking cell. I don't know how you have to explain it. You don't have the internet, you don't have activities. All you do is just sit in the fucking cell talking to your cellmates. If you're lucky enough, you can get some goddamn books from your parents. It's a fucking cell, Ruben. It's horrible.
So I get the sense that you're really fearless. I mean, that's the one thing that's very clear to me here. You've been through this already. You've put your ass on the line, and you're about to do it again. Do you have any fear about any of this? What could happen to you?
Any fear? Oh yeah, there's definitely fear. After you you overcome it, and then you strategize and you find ways to work around the system and help, navigate the area. So yeah, definitely there's fear. Definitely there's anger and all of those negative emotions. The thing is, you overcome those negative emotions, and then after that, you create even more good and big stuff. So yeah, that's essentially it. There's fear, but you overcome it, and then you create better stuff. So.
Did you ever see V for Vendetta? The movie V for Vendetta?
Yeah, V for Vendetta, yeah.
When you were saying that, it reminded me of the moment where he had to break her by putting her in the cell, and then after that, she was totally free. That's sort of where I get where you're coming from.
Totally, yeah, exactly. You're totally free, and then you know the system more, and then you have more balls to do even better things. I think right now they're trying to break me even more. They might start to even cane me with like the goddamn metal strips. It's fucking horrible. I heard people lose their fertility because of that. So who knows? But I think they're gonna do horrible things to me. But I don't know if it's bravery, great intelligence above the time, or just insanity, but I'm playing the game, Ruben, so keep at it, buddy, keep at it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So you go to this pre-trial thing a couple of days ago, and as we said, you're out on the $5,000 bail. What was it like in court? I mean, are they saying to you, just stop this and we'll get rid of the charges? Like, do they want you just to stop right now, or this is happening no matter what you do?
No, this is happening no matter what we do. In fact, some people would deem that basically this was all planned all along.
Some people would deem.
How do I put it? Because you see, that's the thing. They don't want to admit it in the goddamn mainstream media, but essentially all the judges is linked to the government, and the judge essentially has.
All right, so we know what Dave Rubin thinks. He's an American hero and deserves to be treated as such. I now want to check out Mr. Sargon of Akkad and see what Sargon of Akkad has to say about this entire scenario.
Because I had this opinion last year that I wanted to perhaps consider reducing the age of consent for children.
Right.
And
when we say children, I think we should be specific.
Exactly.
I think you mean teenagers, don't you?
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't think you mean like 5-year-olds or something, do you? Or do you? You might. Tell me what your opinion is.
Now that's now you see, I think that
some people might deem. Seems like an easy question, right? Seems like a gimme. See, it seems like you're not talking about fucking 5-year-olds, right? That's not what we're talking about. You mean teenagers, right? You mean you want to have sex with teenagers, right?
13-year-olds, if they decide to have sex with adults, it should be fine. And many people have done it secretly, and that should be fine. Now, in terms of, and I think that's completely reasonable.
Well, it's controversial because people have.
I think that's completely reasonable. The response to that is also very simple. No, that's not reasonable. What the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you saying? The words coming out of your mouth are fucked up. There you go. And that's not hard.
That sounds like you want adults to prey on children. But
exactly.
It's actually not as controversial as you think. For example, I think in the Netherlands, the age of consent is something like 12 or 14. So you're being treated like you're a terrible criminal, but that means the Dutch are terrible criminals as well.
Exactly.
So, well, look, it is an arbitrary.
Pedophile whataboutism. Oh yes, it's real. We've experienced it. Now you see. Some people might deem that you're both pedophiles. Some people might deem.
I think it's completely fine if it's consensual.
Well,
yeah, definitely.
That's your opinion, and I hold different, and that's fine. But the point is, what age are you thinking should be the age of consent?
Wait, but like first I'd like to do the myth con.
Okay, so why? Just get into this then, because I'm curious.
Interesting. A lot of things going.
Okay, so I'm watching Dankula's stream with Amos Yee, and Amos is trolling the shit out of you. I just can't believe anyone thinks he's not trolling. It's incredible. I mean, listen.
An intimate
it's amazing when it's fucking legal.
I would think that. I would think it's ideal if like a child can be introduced to sex as like quickly as possible. So yeah, I really would think that a kid having dick would be a good idea, buddy. Honestly. Okay, but let's say
Barry, what benefit is it to the kid? What benefit?
Because sex is cool and the kid wants dick, let him have the dick.
The kid, how do you know that? You don't know that.
There are many stories of kids who want a dick.
Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you know that Count Chocula, he's pretty well known for his ideas. He's well known for the fact that jokes for the lulz, they're okay, and for a large part, I agree with Count Chocula on this one. I think that you should be allowed to make jokes about anything. Although if you do make jokes about anything, freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. So of course, if he's going to make jokes about that kids want dick, then obviously I'm going to think, well, this guy's a pedophile, because I don't really see the humor in that. If it's just for the lulz, well then yeah, shock humor is pretty fucking low common denominator, right? It's like, hey, by the way, shock. I'm going to say a thing you didn't think I would say. Brace yourself, here it comes. But you know who is loving this? He's trolling you, everyone. He's not a pedophile. No. How could he possibly be a pedophile? He likes to joke about children getting dick. Who amongst us doesn't? I enjoy a good dick every now and then. Come on.
And pussy. So.
No, I don't know what fucking websites you've been going on. Right, but...
Right, so... But anyway, look at his fucking face. He's just having a great time violating social norms. That's what he's doing. Because it's true, we do oppress paedophiles, and with good reason. We should oppress paedophiles. There are some people who need to be oppressed. Those people are criminals. There's criminals, paedophiles, any brand of criminal has to be oppressed. That's what we have to do to prevent them from committing their crimes and to create a chilling effect. That's true. That's a good thing. That's the natural order of society, and that's how things should work. It's the only way they're going to work. So, but what we have, and this is a concept I've been working on a lot, is what Dankula's talking about is the ideological conceptions of age of consent and...
That's interesting. I wonder what Sargon's thoughts are on hate speech laws, because that's going to be neat,
Amos is actually talking about manifest physical harm. The idea of the thing and the thing in and of itself, right?
Wow. I had no idea. Well, thank you. It's just manifest pedophilia. I didn't know that. I love this. I love the 5D chess. Look, everyone. It's not an apologia. No, this isn't apologia. This is just science, everybody. Do you not understand? Shoe on head understands, don't you, Shoe? Shoe, you understand? I'm not a pedophile, Shoe. I'm not. Do you remember how much they lost it to fucking Cuties? How Cuties was the worst thing that ever happened to all these people? Software activist resigns from MIT after defending Epstein and pedophilia. Oh my. I mean, it's the same thing with QAnon, right? It's pedophilia for me, but not for thee. You have to remember that.
The cases where it's a consensual relationship, presumably with like a 10-year-old and a 20-year-old or something, conceivably maybe, and this is what Milo was arguing for. He's saying, look, it didn't harm me. Milo's the example where he enjoyed the relationship and found it beneficial, and that's what Amos is defending. But in principle, we say no, because even if not most of them are, but I imagine most of them really are abusive, like Dankula was saying. That's the distinction that is being talked past here, and nothing Dankula says can disprove that the small number, at least ideologically, can't disprove the small number are not harmful. He can't prove necessarily that these are harmful relationships.
Kids cannot consent. So they're all harmful by nature. There is no, oh, well, you know, I'm not talking about the bad pedos. I'm talking about the good pedos. There's good pedos, all right? Not the bad pedos. Bad pedos are cuties, yes. Netflix is the bad pedos. I'm talking about the good pedos. This is one of the good pedos, everybody. They're all fucking bad. There's no such thing as a consensual relationship between an adult and a child. I don't know whether this has to be like pointed out to all you pedophile hunters. You're so jacked up all the time to call out every pedophile. It's like, oh yeah, the liberals, the elites. Hillary Clinton is the pedophile queen, and Obama is the pedophile king. Yes, and Joe Biden is the pedophile prince. Every one of them. Meanwhile, it's like, well, this one's okay, all right. So sometimes there's a beneficial relationship between a child and an adult if it's consensual. They cannot fucking consent. That's the point. There's no such thing. It's very easy.
But Amos is clearly taking this as an opportunity to troll the shit out of people and to, through a process of not unsound logic, but just incomplete logic, to be able to say babies want the dick. That's what all of this is. It's an elaborate ruse so he can say babies want the dick and the pussy. To be able to say babies want the dick. That's what all of this is. It's an elaborate ruse so he can say babies want the dick and the pussy. That's what it is. I fucking promise you. Honestly, I find this... I actually genuinely find it hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. It is some pretty top tier trolling. Because a lot of people have been fooled by this. But trust me, this is a fucking massive troll. And you can tell by the look on Amos's face when he's laying it out to Dankula. He's loving violating the social norms that we have. And it's fine, let him do it. I just find it funny and ridiculous. You know, it's like, hey man, it's your reputation, you know. I do some pretty fucking stupid stuff in the name of trolling, but this... So it's above my pay grade, that's all I'm saying.
I'm curious if Sargon did a response video already. The noose of censorship is tightening.
Hi, CAD Daily. Our team reviewed your content and unfortunately we think that it violates our harassment threats and cyberbullying policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube. Video. Why did the SJWs try to normalize pedophilia?
I bet this isn't related to Amos. I bet he just put this one out anyway, and then everything just saying it just queued up. Oops.
I didn't think it was harassing, threatening, or cyberbullying anyone. I don't actually respond to an individual in it. I'm talking about an aggregate of news articles and think pieces where they're trying to defend and normalize pedophilia. And I think that's a fair statement to have made. And it's very interesting how this has happened now, but it is preventing me from uploading to my YouTube channel for the next week. Why is this happening? What the hell is going on? And I'm sure you've heard by now about the Streisand effect that caused by Twitter's censorship of the New York Post and the smoking gun emails, as Donald Trump says here, about Hunter Biden and his dealings with China. He was working with CPEC, I think it is, but it was a Chinese energy company or something like that, an industrialist. Is worth $40 million a year and ended up going bankrupt, and Hunter Biden seems to have been getting somewhere in the realm of $10 million a year from this Chinese company. Why? Who knows? I'm sure the New York Post are currently trying to publish more and more leaks from the emails that were apparently got after Hunter Biden took his laptop to be repaired and never picked it up. And for some reason, the FBI took it and then...
I just want to see the pedophilial part.
Government website. Email scan of hacked Kayleigh McEnany. This can say that.
Oh, it's all about Hunter Biden?
exactly. I'm guessing it's something to do with the trend that Facebook decided to set by banning QAnon conspiracy theories. They're also banning Holocaust denial on Facebook now, which, I mean, you would have thought was already banned just because of the nature of the subject. But Mark Zuckerberg had actually come out and made a spirited free speech defense in defense of Holocaust denial, saying that while he didn't agree, and he is Jewish himself, he still thought that they held sincere convictions, even if they were mistaken. And I think that the worst thing you can say really about QAnon that would be fair and accurate is that that's the case also. I think the QAnon people, whether they're right or wrong, at least I believe that they're...
I mean, I don't want to steel man him here, but are we equating Holocaust denial to QAnon? Or are we equating QAnon and pedophiles to Holocaust deniers? What is happening here?
This is why I include this information at the beginning, because I think that I seem to have been caught up in the same thing. I'm not someone who supports QAnon. I don't oppose it either. I frankly didn't really understand it, and it seemed Byzantine, and it's just not my thing.
Byzantine.
So I guess I've been just...
First off, is that how all you lovely British folk pronounce Byzantine? Is it Byzantine? I didn't know that. I love hearing the difference in pronunciation between British and I guess Canadian pronunciation. I mean, Canadian pronunciation is just absolutely atrocious for everything. But I like that one. I prefer that. That's wonderful. Byzantine. But I don't think he's going to talk about Amos. I think he's gonna leave Amos out of this completely.
Caught up in it, but it was inevitable.
It's not. He's just an idiot. Is that true? Wait. Okay. Who's British here? There's 400 people watching. One of you has to be a proper Brit. Come on. Are there any waspy Brits here? The ones who speak with almost like the nasally kind of accents? Oh, hello. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's been some time now. My mother's been introducing me to all kinds of strange ideas and concepts, so here we are. Yes, let's begin. Yeah, here we go. Is it Byzantine? Is it Byzantine? Byzantine. Byzantine.
Going to happen. I'm not in any way glad to see them deleting the QAnon stuff.
Byzantine.
Byzantine.
Oh, well, look at that. It's Byzantine. Oh, hello, my darling. It's awfully Byzantine of you. Oh, that's very pleasant. No, it's lovely to be here this beautiful day. What would the Cockney version of that be?
I don't know. Maybe Byzantine. It's gonna sound a little bit like this, deep in the throat. Byzantine.
Maybe like that.
But even then, I don't think you should be deleting any of these people. I don't think... Prove them wrong. Argue the case. It seems there might be some problems out there.
Well,
but anyway.
Is he saying we have to debate the Holocaust deniers? Come on now. It's very difficult. It's quite hard to know. Is it real? Is it not real? How will we ever know? Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our God, I'm Ra. We pray at your altar of greatness. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, Jimothy K. Meeblebeeps Jr., Ryan Lubin, Trevor R., Jeffrey Lamb, Poppy Nelson, Stephen, Hans Josephine, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our Knights of the Round Table, J. Fraser Cartwright, Thomas Brereton, Ali Menthal, Jimmy Bignuts, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringoito, Goofus Lankius, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Yoppie, Josh Mickelson, Dr. Zayas, Dylan Byth, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We salute you.